Hey everyone, welcome to Fight Night Uncaged. Today is Monday, March 24th, and we have an awesome show for you today. We get right into it with some live reactions from the Fight Night on Saturday, then we get right into the breakdowns. Also go over some news, and then we have an all-time interview with my dad, former fighter, coach Mikey 2Slaps. I want to thank everybody for all the support that they've given so far. Love to everybody.
Can he choke him out that way?
It doesn't look like he's got anything, but
I mean, he's almost
use
thick
his body.
He's almost thick enough to do it though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's like using his. He's.
Yeah.
Whoa!
He's so thick. His lats.
I gotta see that again. It looks like
Skinny guys couldn't pull that off.
Yeah, no, he's thick enough.
Because he like started by just keeping his hand under his hip. And then he found his own hand.
Show me the replay. We just got done with the fight night. Beautiful, beautiful finish by Sean Brady. That was fun. And now bye Leon. Bye-bye. Ciao. See you later. Ciao.
I don't know who Leon's going to fight now.
Now Sean Brady's just right there.
Mm-hmm.
He could fight Shavkat. He could fight the winner. I think Shavkat will fight the winner of Jack Della Maddalena and Bilal. When that's actually coming up here fairly soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else? What other fights did we just have? Jan Blachowicz just lost to Carlos Olberg. It's whatever. That boy got him with his whole back.
Oh, Sean Brady?
Sean Brady just...
Yeah. Choking him out with the lat spread.
Do you think you could do that?
Bro.
Choke somebody out with the lats?
Oh. It's just my shoulder. I think my shoulder couldn't do what he was doing. It's like, see, I can't even do that.
He had him like...
Yeah, well, he didn't have him like this. Behind his back. It was still in the front.
Oh, so it was like this?
Yeah, it's just like the way he was hunched over. It looked weird.
Yeah,
you could do it.
We're on main event, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the main event. We're going back and forth a little bit to everything.
Just pulling it up.
No, good. I'm glad. Thanks, producer. So,
Mr. Producer?
Yeah, I don't really give a fuck who Leon fights now. But Sean Brady's right there. I say, he was 5. He moved up 4-3.
I think so.
Most likely, yeah.
And then Leon becomes, 3? No.
He moved down to 5-6.
You think? From 1? That's crazy.
Yeah.
He goes to 3. And then
Maybe.
Tom Brady goes to 4.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's the reality, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. Because really, the way that fight was going, I think they fight 2-3 times, it could go either way. He was winning on the feet.
I could see them making Sean Brady 2 and then Leon 3. But that's less likely than
Shavkat's what you said? 2 or 3? They can move Shavkat right up there to 1.
Maybe.
I could see it in a crazy world.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens too when when Bilal and Jack Della fight. Because if Jack Della Maddalena beats him and he's 4 and he just moves right up to champ.
True.
Bilal would have to move down to 1.
1. Yep.
That would just how that would work. He would have to move down to 1.
Right.
So then I could see him Brady moving to 4 or 3.
Yeah, it really depends.
There's some fun fights in the welterweight division with these up and coming guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting rid of the old heads.
Yeah.
No offense to
Bilal is
Leon.
no longer a champion. It'll be
Yeah.
much better, even better.
That'd be fire. And then, all right, after that, the co-main event was big boys, Jan Blachowicz and Carlos Olberg. Kind of a whatever decision. The Polish power wasn't Polish enough, I guess.
A lot of leg kicks.
And they were doing wonders in the first round, and then they just I don't know, he just kind of not faded from it, but
yeah, he just tried to use the Polish power a little too late in the last round.
Yeah, I feel like he used it right away in the beginning. Not almost. I mean, he did kind of gas himself out. Where 2 and 3, he just kind of coasted.
Yeah,
and then tried to pick it back up in the third because he was pissed off.
He must have ran out of Polish power midway through, and then his bar was out. You know what I mean?
His stamina bar. He needed a mana potion, Bryce.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what was the fight after that?
Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin.
Oh, that's right. Kevin Holland beat the piss out of him with some slappies.
He was slapping the fuck out of him.
Beat the bloody piss out.
You think that's worse than getting punched?
Yeah. For sure.
Really?
If you get open hand
Piss,
slapped
bro.
out there, for sure.
There was a
disrespectful too. Like
There was a dude who, these brothers who would slap guys, and they was just called the Stockton slap. He would just smack them in the face.
Mm-hmm. I mean, point and laugh at you.
yeah, pointing at you and just bop.
that's funny.
But you're right. That is disrespectful as fuck.
Yeah,
Why-
and then he'd double middle finger flip you off afterwards too.
And Kevin Holland's kind of disrespectful too. And then the one scene though where he had him kind of in an arm bar and he's holding them like a bag of groceries.
Oh yeah,
And they're like, "What's up, man? Hey, what's up?" If he could have got off the cage and just right on the back of his
strong
head.
enough to do that. I think he was just barely able to.
He was like,
It's another big man.
what other stuff happened in this? I mean, for a fight night, this wasn't terrible.
Molly retired.
Molly Mcann retired. Most unexpected thing I ever saw. But she sucks. Yeah, she sucks. That's why.
Yeah.
No, that's like she said. If I'm getting beat by this girl on a week's notice, I ain't it. And she was never really it. She just popped off because her and Patty all kind of popped off at the same time. And Patty ain't even all that. And a bag of chips, bag of fish and chips.
Sad thing that is though, he could still beat Chandler. Anybody can beat.
Oh, I forgot he's fighting Chandler.
Yeah.
Okay, complete random side note. GFL announced their fights, all their old heads.
Mhm.
Tony Ferguson is fighting Dylan Dennis.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Brother, if he loses to Dylan Dennis, I'm gonna cry. I might actually
MMA
cry.
fight?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's an MMA fight, but he could absolutely lose because Tony's Tony.
He could get choked out for sure.
Brother, I would cry.
I mean, I'm already sad to know
Don't.
that it's even happening.
Don't you dare, Jack. Tony Ferguson was one of the greatest fighters at one point of all time. And things just happen. And then you got to realize I fell off the wagon. I need to stop. Nope, I got knocked out. I need to stop. Oh, I got knocked out. I need to stop. Oh, I got knocked out. I need to stop. No, he never stopped. And now he's going to fight such a douchebag. And if he loses, I'm going to cry.
It's okay. It's also Dylan Dennis.
How do you know Dylan Dennis?
Well, he's not gonna get knocked out. He'll get choked out.
That's the
only
thing is
way.
he could get choked out. Tony Ferguson is like
There's no way Dylan Dennis is knocking him out with a
no,
punch.
but if he chokes him out, I'll cry.
Yeah, it's not as bad. Then it's just kind of like a glorified wrestling match at that point,
Yeah.
where they could have hit each other, but they didn't. Probably. It's how it's probably gonna go.
Yeah, that's the only other thing. Molly Mcann retired. That was
I think we're also forgetting the other girl's celebration.
shaking that ass. That's a great celebration.
Nala.
There's another girl that twerks too. There's a girl who when she wins, she just
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't mad at it.
When they got it, you know.
When you got it like that, you got it like that.
Yeah, shake
I could do better.
Literally just standing.
I wasn't even looking.
Then we got a couple more fight nights before we get to the big April pay-per-view card. That April card's gonna be Fuego. Oh, also in some news, right off the top, rest in peace to George Foreman.
Yeah, R.I.P.
What? You know he made $200 million from grills. You know the George Foreman grill? You've never heard of the George Foreman grill? Have you heard of the name George Foreman? You don't know who that is?
I don't know who that is, bro.
You've never. Okay, George Foreman, 2-time heavyweight boxing champion, Olympic gold medalist, like fought into his 50s and won. Amazing guy. And then he decided I'm gonna make these like little tiny portable grills.
It's like the ones that you see at campers.
Yeah, like it sits on your countertop, and like it's just a little grill. And he made $200 million. Like it was one of the most like, it was one of those like as seen on TV things where it's like call this number 1-800 whatever, and he made $200 million from those grills.
Not bad.
I can't believe you've never heard of a George Foreman grill.
Yeah.
He would have one of all people. They would.
But he kind of like came to America after all that.
That's true.
Big. So he'd have to like go out of his way to like hear about it almost.
But not even. I feel like he would go, not know about George Foreman, but he would have one of those grills and be like, "Yo,
you might have one."
My stepdad might have one.
Yeah,
it's literally like a grill that's like this big,
They're
and it
usually
folds
green.
open, and you can like shut it.
And you have to like usually put like a propane tank in it or something. Yeah, I think my stepdad. You probably do. You guys might use it at Devil's Lake even.
Yeah.
But that's what he's most known for, not being a 2-time heavyweight champion. And Jack, I want you to Google real quick. At what age did George Foreman win his second heavyweight champion?
Did he die today? Or what?
He died
Yesterday?
yesterday, a couple days ago.
Pussy.
I mean, he was, when you have like, he probably had some mental stuff
Well, he
wrong
was
with him
old.
from getting rocked also.
Yeah.
I'm just, from like,
Was he,
he
like,
was in his 60s
87?
or 70s, 80s maybe?
I don't know.
When you want a second?
Yeah.
Okay, what's coming up is he was 45.
45 years old when he won his second heavyweight title.
Yeah, 1994.
Yeah. 45 years old.
What happened though? Like what?
They don't know yet. It takes a little while, but something. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
He was he fought he lost to Ali.
Oh.
He fought Muhammad Ali. Yeah. He's like, well, he's a legend. He is a legend of the sport for sure. And he sold a lot of grills.
Hell yeah.
Have you watched The Office at all?
Michael burned his foot on a George Foreman grill. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Another thing in the news, it looks like we've been talking about how we have been not liking the pay-per-view model.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned it the other day to me that it looks like these Netflix talks might be for real.
Yeah.
You got Netflix?
Yeah.
Would you be more inclined to watch UFC if it was on Netflix? If you were sitting there like on a random night and you just didn't have anything to watch, but an event was up?
Probably. Yeah.
But then too, they would put all of their other stuff on there. You could watch all their reality shows. You could watch all their other stuff.
That's what they're doing with WWE too.
But we were talking there. It looks like they're in talks to have a deal with Netflix, and how that would work, we're not sure. Because right now we pay a monthly subscription to watch that on ESPN Plus, but then when there's a pay-per-view, you have to pay the $80 a month, and that's really you're paying $100 a month to watch UFC, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if you had it on Netflix, that's a mainstream service that's going to get you way more views. You're going to get so many more eyeballs on the sport if you have it on a mainstream service like Netflix, like every other person in America has. And then so then you get more eyeballs on it, but then you would have to change the method. So you would probably make Netflix more expensive, but not have it be $80. You would charge like $30, $40. but then get a lot of people to watch it.
Or Netflix comes out with like a sports package.
That would be fire too, though, because then, like Jack just said, they have Netflix. Netflix did the Jake Paul fight, that one Jake Paul fight, but you said they are now doing WWE stuff too.
Yeah.
Did they do an NFL?
Yeah.
They did NFL on Christmas or something. If they honestly had that though, where okay, you can have just the regular Netflix movie package, but then you could have the sports package. And then it's an extra charge, but then you get
They would make bank doing it that way too.
but then you get ESPN, or you get like football, boxing, MMA. You get all of those things on that platform.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, NFL, why not make a deal with Netflix? Netflix would literally be the biggest thing possible.
Yeah, but I think NFL would still have the problem of having multiple broadcasters because you're not going to get rid of CBS
Yeah.
or ABC or whatever. But at least Netflix would be another one.
Right. The way that they did it this year was that they only had it for one game. They had like a Christmas Day game on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
But really, if they bought the Sunday Night Football lineup or the Sunday, one of the broadcast channels, I could see that. Yeah. And then if they bought, or if they made a deal with the UFC, and if they had all the exclusive UFC stuff on there,
I think eventually Amazon and Netflix are going to go to battle about getting control of each.
One might buy the other one.
That too, maybe, but I think it's going to be a battle between the two to see who can get the most the fastest, because they're the two biggest.
That is true, and you're right too. Where football won't, like, you have to watch one of the football things on Peacock because of NBC.
That'll eventually fizzle out.
Eventually, but it will. I think that'll still be like NBC is still so big that they'll still have that. I want that NFL, whatever.
They just are so established. They just have to run out of money eventually. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's in front of the camera.
Oh, of course it is. I'm fucking dumb.
This
man, stupid.
Horrible cameraman.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any thoughts about that fight we just saw?
Think about the fights we could have saw last night at Rockford, but we didn't. We would have seen so many fights.
All right, well, let's get to our interview with Mikey, 2Slaps Owens. All right, we now welcome on a very special guest. First guest, actually. This is probably my biggest motivation for why I've ever gotten into mixed martial arts or any combat sports. This is retired fighter, coach, but most importantly, my father, Mikey 2Slaps Owens. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
First question, right off the bat. You still fucking got it?
I still got it. I've got about 8 full seconds. If I'm
Sometimes
not
I think
done,
that's all you need.
I can't finish the fight in 8 seconds. I need help.
Exactly. Okay, there we go. So I just for the fans, let's give me a brief overview. Like fight career. Just give me your
Day one.
Give me your total day one. Give me just doesn't have to be detailed. Just give me a brief overview of everything. Fight career wise, fight stuff, coaching, fight stuff, everything.
Well, my mom brought me into Taekwondo plays back when I was about 10 years old. Started there over in South Beloit. Can't remember the name of it. Anyways, that's where I started my martial arts career. Started at 10 years old, and then moved from Beloit, went to Janesville, started at Karate America. Got a black belt at Karate America, and then became a point fighting champion, Diamond Nationals, couple of Chicago events, Milwaukee, and then I met some lugheads from Beloit that got me into kickboxing. Started over at Ronin Martial Arts, which is partially myself, Rick Bloyer, David Hoover, who passed away recently, which God bless him. And then started a kickboxing career there. I then moved on from there to Muay Thai. Did Muay Thai it's been 30 years now. I've been doing Muay Thai. And then had my first fight, 1990. I think it was in, where was it?
Was this point? That was point fighting?
No, this was actually boxing, kickboxing.
Boxing, okay.
Yep. Point fighting was such a long career. I don't even really need to go into where I was at because that'd be an all-day podcast. So, and then so I started. My first fight was down in South Beloit. It was outside, hot as shit. I don't even think I told anyone about this fight. Had a beer before I went, and yeah, first fight I loved it. I lost my first fight. Lost my first 4 fights.
What age were you?
Oh shoot! So 1990, I was probably 20, probably 21, somewhere around there. Yeah. And then started moving on, getting fights probably within like 2 to 3 fights a year. I didn't do very well right away. I lost my first 4 bouts, which kind of got me discouraged, and I actually wanted to quit. And then I talked to one of my old coaches, Steve Godfrey, from Karate America, Mr. G, and he told me to stop being so lunky, stop being so forward, start moving left and right, just like I know how. I've been doing point fighting for forever, before I ever did. So that's what I did. I started bouncing with my hands down. I started winning, and I got like 10 wins in a row. And never did go pro, but I did have some pretty good bouts. So good. Never regret one moment of that in my entire life.
So what there just was like what was, I guess, the reason for the you just up and just didn't want to do it anymore? Like, what was it?
Yeah, because the kickboxing fights were so spread out.
Yeah.
So I went from 21 to, I think my last fight, I was like in my late 30s. So that's a little bit too long to be in the game. So then I just started being a coach, and I feel like I was a better coach than a fighter.
So that's, I don't know, like, I was too young to know all this, so I don't know the fighter of my dad, but I know you as the coach.
Yep.
So that's what the next question I had transition into that then. How did you, so you're fighting, they're kind of spread out, you're only getting like 1 or 2 fights a year.
Mm-hmm.
Are you also coaching at that same time?
Yes. Yep. And I think that's where I realized, like the fights just came up sporadically, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take it, I'm ready to go. But then I was coaching, and I'm like, you know what? That might be my thing. So.
What are these? Okay, this is like early, late, mid, late 90s then. Or,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is the 90s. How much are these fights, how much are you getting paid?
Never really got paid at all. So, yeah.
So why the hell are you doing them at all? That makes total sense.
I worked construction.
Mm-hmm.
I did interior plastering, which was part of my training because that was one of the hardest jobs I've ever had to do in my life. And then I would go home, get ready, go right to the gym, train until 10 o'clock at night, and do it again. So if I had a full-time job, full-time fight career, full-time coach, full-time dad, it's pretty tough.
But that's, I guess that would make sense though. If you're not really getting paid either to fight, to get punched in the face, to get injured, to have to train to do all this, then like, were you? I get this is also the 90s, so it's not like it is today. Did you have like people you were like? Did you have trainers? Did you have a coach? Mm-hmm. So you're paying these people then too, right?
Well, the gym was paying them.
So. Okay, so but I guess yeah. When you're like a professional fighter, you got like
Yeah.
nutritionists and
Yeah.
these things, and you, I guess, aren't doing
Right.
that
Right.
necessarily. Okay.
I did
So
have
then,
a sponsor for like 2 years, but it was an energy drink that just came out during that year, and they didn't really help. They weren't really on board with anything. I ended up paying. They said they'd reimburse me, and never did. I still wore their brand on my clothing. So
I mean, you're talking about the '90s too. That's the Wild West.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
people have to understand the time of now and then is like
right.
that's literally the Wild West
That's
of
right.
any sort of combat sports at all. There's no like
Hmm.
structure to anything. The UFC is not even a thing.
Correct. Yeah.
So then I get that was my next. So my memories are going to getting done with school, going to Ronin martial arts, doing the taekwondo class with you. You got that's and we hopped all around. We were in the first place, like I remember in Beloit, then we were in Rockford, then like
Right.
South Beloit, and didn't matter. We were there. We went there every day, and we were there. Then we would be in the kids class, and I remember a very like the most vivid memory that I have is doing the karate, and like we went to a tournament and we did point fighting,
Hmm.
and then you took me into there was Ronin martial arts, and then behind it was like a shed,
Hmm.
like that's what it was, and back there were killers,
Yeah.
the just the most grizzled up, dirty, sweaty place imaginable. And I fell in. I remember being like, why am I doing point fighting? Look at these fucking dudes in here.
Hmm.
And like I remember New York Joe,
Yep.
and then there's 3 or 4 people I like have a face memorized, but I couldn't give you a name. I couldn't give you anything.
Yeah.
These
Rick.
guys were
Remember
just
Rick Bloyer?
Rick the Destroyer
That's right.
Bloyer. I was too young to appreciate it the way that I should have.
Hmm.
But I just remember these guys were, in the prime of their careers, in their early
Hmm.
20s, like just grizzled up
Yeah.
killers. And I remember falling in love
Yeah.
like from those moments. Even karate. Karate was beautiful. It was
Hmm.
amazing. That was
Yeah.
like that's why I like the intro. You were the introduction to my MMA, to
Hmm.
any sort of like combat sports at all,
Yep.
boxing, kickboxing, anything.
Yep.
And you didn't limit me either. It was we did everything.
Yep.
We,
Hmm.
I mean, like we did random wrestling classes at the Y. We did
Hmm.
like I remember just everything. We were experiencing everything.
Yep.
And I really like martial arts should be mandatory. People should feel the way that you made me feel. And Pops, I don't think you understand enough. For real.
Right.
The impact that you gave, like
Right.
it's martial arts is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It is.
And people look at it in such a negative light sometimes. And
Yep.
it's the most beautiful thing that you could. It's an art. It's literally called martial arts for a reason. It
Yep.
is the same as painting. It's the same as drawing. It's an art. It's
That's
a
right.
skill. And I have such an appreciation for it now. It's not it's not just MMA. It's
Hmm.
not just combat sports. I love watching people and their whatever their skill is,
Yeah.
like whatever their thing is at the highest level.
Yep. Hmm.
I will watch a fucking chess live stream
Yeah.
because people at the highest level
Hmm.
of their skill, it's art. It's literally it's art. And martial arts is just one of the most beautiful things you could ever have.
Yeah. I agree.
So, I just want to thank you, Pops.
You're welcome.
So, completely transitioning now, another memory that you gave me was like seeing it. It's all like super. I was too young to remember, but going to or like watching UFC fights, but like or not even UFC fights, Pride fights.
Yep.
I was talking to my friend the other day about UFC, and I said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Fedor Emelianenko?" And they're like, "Who?" I said, "Brother," I said, "there's a list of people that you don't even understand
Yep.
that didn't fight in the UFC
Yep.
that are some of the most amazing fighters, and even maybe not today.
Yep.
Some of these guys wouldn't transition well in today's MMA, but these guys were pioneers of their game.
Yeah.
So, I guess with that, my question then was like, when you were doing all this too, this was the beginning of the UFC then too. Were you watching this? Were you actively paying attention to all of that stuff as well?
Yeah. When UFC 1 came out, the most brutal thing that I ever seen in my life, I was in the middle of my training during all that. So it motivated me, but then it also kind of hurt me a little bit because I realized, oh wow, I've been training stand up for all this time and I never went to the ground. I'm like, oh shit, this might be something I might need to look into. And it never really didn't take off until a few years later, but then by then I was a little bit older. I'm like, nah, that's
You don't need a
probably
ground game.
another
You're too
reason why I
big.
need to start teaching also.
Yeah. So the I guess give me like so when it's early 90s or no, I'm sorry, it's late 90s, early 2000s. Who are you like who are you watching? Who are you paying attention to?
Gracie, Hoist Gracie, obviously. Couple K1 guys, Peter Arts. What's the other one? Another guy that lives here in Vegas. I've seen him a couple times. Can't remember what his name is. Hawaiian guy. Remember I used to always talk about him.
Ernesto Hoost?
No.
See,
Anyway,
I
those are the
remember
guys that I watched, and they inspired me to keep moving forward, and their brutality and their heart was. They weren't the best strikers. They weren't the best, kickers or anything like that, but they had the biggest heart and the mentality, the killer mentality, and I fell in love with that.
and that's like I remember like that I guess I remember a big when we moved to Vegas initially, I guess that was when I got super into MMA and UFC because it was so that's where like that's the mecca of UFC in a sense is Vegas. So that's where it was like very heavily like marketed there. So it was something that we paid like that was where I remember really catching on to it.
Yeah.
And then going to friends' houses and watching like just random shit. Not even UFC, just the most random like and like I remember you would be like, "Hey, watch this guy. This guy's this guy."
Yep.
I like Fedor was one of the guys I always remember.
Yep.
And then I mean, if we're talking way before, there was that K1 game on the PlayStation 1 we would play. And of course, video games was going to get me.
Yeah.
So then that was like, oh, these are all the fighters you need to be aware of.
Yep.
And this is like pre-YouTube. You can't just go on YouTube and look these guys up either.
Remember Mike Bernardo?
Yeah.
Who else was there? Who else was on there?
Ernesto Hoost?
Ernesto Hoost. He was amazing. Peter Arts. One guy with the nasty axe kick. Remember that guy?
Yeah, all those
Can't remember his name, but
they're all from where they're all from a European country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all those killers out of there.
Yep.
So then okay, you're watching Gracie, you're watching these K1 guys. As it starts to develop and getting into it more, who are you? I guess who are you watching from like the beginning, and then as it's developing, who are you like? Who are your guys that you're watching throughout? Because
So this is
you're a
later on
certain
down, actually UFC.
yeah. We're now okay yeah. Late '90s, you're watching the K1 guys. You're watching Gracie. You're watching the beginning of the UFC.
Yeah.
Now maybe a few years down, it's more of an established. We have that we have Tough One with Forrest and Stephen Bonner.
Mhm.
Who are the guys then that like, because you have a special like you have a quality that not a lot of people have where you were already heavily invested into it
Yeah.
when it started.
Mhm.
So then like you were already kind of paying attention and you've
Yeah.
paid attention all the entire since the 30 years that it's been
Yeah.
essentially mainstream. So then who are you watching as it's starting to transition? Or who are your guys, I guess?
Yeah. I think my favorite fighter of all time, even to this day, besides Fedor, is Tyrone Spong. Um, never seen anyone with more composure, more relaxed in a ring, and more speed and more power than this man in my entire life. If he could have just worked on just a tiny bit of ground game, it would have been over in the UFC. That's my guy. I don't think he fights
All right.
anymore. I think he's retired. He's almost as old as I am now, probably.
Yeah, you're pretty old.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, give me a top three then, just
Okay.
UFC. Give me a top three only UFC.
Only UFC?
Only UFC.
Rampage.
Your guys.
Rampage Jackson. He had that killer instinct that I loved. Who's the other ones? Mohawk guy. I'm losing my mind.
Chuck.
Chuck Liddell. Yeah, Chuck Liddell.
That took
Chuck
us way too
Liddell.
long.
Yeah, Rampage. And you wanted one more? I'd probably have to
Give me
say-
one more.
I don't know. I'd have to get back to you on that one. I don't want to say
Okay.
someone and be like, "Why did I say that guy's name?"
I think that happens on every podcast though, as
Yeah.
people go back and listen and they're like, "Why
Yeah.
the fuck did I say that?"
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
So, a couple of pods ago, we did our Mount Rushmore,
Mm-hmm.
our top four,
Yeah.
and mine were GSP.
Mhm.
GSP is probably my. He's just my favorite fighter.
Yeah.
Because he was just all around. And he always was a student of the game.
Yeah.
He never.
I have thoughts on that when you're done. I'll let you know.
Okay, cool. I always thought of him as a student of the game, where he's like there's always that famous story of like he saw Joe Rogan's spinning back kick and he's like, hey, can you teach me that? He's one of those guys who wants to go other places and learn their craft. And he was a guy I don't care for. I understand its place. I don't care for the shit talking. I don't care for the press conference where they're sitting there getting in each other's face. I understand the point of it. I understand you're selling the fight.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about that. I want these two in the cage fighting.
Yeah.
And GSP was about none of that.
Right. Right.
He was about let's fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what were your thoughts on that?
So GSP was great to me. He was one of my favorite fighters. Also, he had that kid. He was probably one of the greatest finishers in UFC history. But I don't know what happened. He got to the point. Maybe it's the type of opponents he had, but he stopped finishing people.
Yeah.
I think he changed his game, and he did just enough to win. And that annoys the shit out of me.
100%. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah. So,
I agree with you on that one.
but
I
I'm not
don't.
taking anything away from him because I think it's just part of change.
Yeah.
But you still got to be the best finisher. You got to finish. You know.
Yeah. That's so he's my Mount Rushmore. So that's just my favorite. If we're talking the greatest, to me it's Khabib.
Oh yeah. Oh
Where
definitely.
he never really even lost a round.
Yeah.
And the shots of him, I've said it 100 times, the shots of him like talking to guys while he's beating the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Is just, and now he has created such a culture in the UFC where
Yes.
there is that, and it's very similar to the GSP thing. He's also on my Mount Rushmore. It's the I don't need to talk, I don't need to do this press conference. Let's meet, let's fight.
Yeah.
I'm all about my religion, my family, and my training.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I love it.
And that's the best fighters to me.
Mhm.
John Jones could be the greatest ever if he would have just focused on fighting.
Yeah. I agree.
I still think you could argue I think he's the GOAT also. I think he's probably number 2.
Mhm.
I think his off the field stuff and his took him away from that.
Yep. I agree.
If he could lock in and be a true fighter and only focus on his craft, it would be undisputed. It'd be
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
So I guess do you agree where is that your GOAT then, Khabib? Is he your
Khabib. Yeah.
Khabib?
I wasn't going that far away, but that far forward. But if we're going that far forward, he's definitely my top 3. One of my top 3.
Okay, so we're moving a little bit forward now, and then like I just remember like it's very hard. I'm so young when we're watching these, so I don't necessarily remember live things.
Yep.
But then this is the very early days of YouTube also, where I can see all these guys.
Yeah.
And I have the guys like Anderson, and even like I don't think a Chuck Liddell would last in today's UFC.
No.
But he's still one of the greatest ever because he paved the way for these guys.
Yeah. He did.
If we're talking about light heavyweights now, he's not in the
When you go in there to
echelon of these
fight,
guys.
when you go to fight Chuck Liddell, you know you're not going to wrestle. Even if you're the best wrestler in the world, you're going to attempt 3 to 4, maybe even 5 takedowns. You're not going to get it. And then you have no choice but to stand and bang with this man. And that's where he beat you.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's where he beat you.
I think today's game he gets beat because people just have are just better equipped.
I agree.
In your days and those early days, these guys like had no choice but to do it. You're working full-time construction and doing this. Now we live in a day where these guys can do, I'm only going to do this because I can actually make money from this.
Right.
Back then, you're not making any money from a fight, so why put a whole lot of effort into it if you're not going to make a career out of it, or you're not going to? I mean, you can fight all you want. It's just you're not.
Yep. I think another guy for me that got me excited again because I watched UFC for a while. I kind of got out of it and I got back into it. Lyoto Machida. He really got me fired up about watching UFC again. With his karate stance and his strikes, they were really impressive.
His respect.
I loved it. But you always hear that saying, "Don't meet your heroes."
You met him?
Wish I never met this man.
Oh
Wish I never met
no!
him. So
we don't like him, is what you're
no,
saying?
fuck that dude.
Ah.
But As a
Okay,
fighter,
so we're an anti-Leota podcast. Got it. Anti-Leota. Got it.
not really anti, just what
It's already. I'm clipping it. Clipping it.
you
It's
can
already
clip it.
on there.
You can clip it. You can come talk to me if you like. It's it's just the way he treats his fans. It's not good. I saw him twice at the UFC Expo, and he treats people like shit. He thinks he's better than everyone. That's not a way to be. So,
That's tough. As a fighter, Leota, I liked him.
yep.
I originally said the respect thing.
Oh yeah, I
Because
got respect.
no, I'm saying when he's in the octagon, he does have
Yeah.
tremendous respect for his opponent. That's something I put in such high regard. I don't mess with all the talking back and forth and the saying shit that's like just a low blow and that saying shit just to get somebody fired up and get under somebody's skin. I get it. It has its time and place, and they're also selling an event.
Yeah.
But like, I'm one of the fans. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I want these two to fight.
I agree. And some people go too far. They go too far with
That's the thing.
things, and it's just disrespectful, and that's what they were intending to do. And then you think it's going to change that person's fight game,
Right. And then also, what's too far? There's no like, I can say whatever, and then I say one thing about your mother, and that's too. You know what I mean? That's too far.
Well, it's perception.
That's what I'm saying. Each person is different, so you don't know necessarily what you're crossing the line on. You're just fighting this guy. You don't know this fucking dude.
Yeah.
You don't need to go there. You're already gonna punch each other in the face. What more do you need to do? What else? That's as far as you can take it.
Yeah. I think someone getting in my face and talking shit to me, I think I'd start laughing. I don't know. It doesn't go into my mind as like it's going to affect me. It doesn't affect me.
Yeah, I honestly, I've learned from making content like this and doing game and shit. Nothing phases me what these people what comments say. I'm not phased by it.
Nope.
Because you would never have that same energy in my You'd never have that same energy if you saw me in person.
Right.
You'd never. And it's the same. I have the same context with that. You guys are yapping behind. You guys are talking all this shit, and then after the fight, oh, it's all love, bro. I'm just fuck that.
Whatever. And just think, we got what, a couple hundred subscribers. Just think if you got like 2 or 3 million, and you got
it's nothing but hate,
and you got 10,000 comments. Like, I wouldn't even go through them.
I don't give a. And this is kind of a fucked up thing, but nothing they say is as bad as what I say to myself.
Yeah.
So nothing, they don't faze me in any way.
Yeah.
So random. We went on a tangent there. Then are you paying attention, keeping up with modern UFC right now?
Not too much.
Not so much.
Just recently, we've been going because where I work, I can go back and I can watch all the fights, and everything. And they've been entertaining. Just got a different feeling to it for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school, but
we were just talking about it the other day too. It's there is a weird lull right now of a lack of, not people to attach onto, but superstars. There are a lack of people who captivate people in a way. And there's fighters I like. I love Izzy right now. Israel Adesanya. He is right now. He's my favorite fighter.
He probably is one of my favorites too. Yeah.
And I mean, and then in the same camp as him, it's the same camp. Volkanovski and Dan Hooker too.
Yep.
Dan Hooker he's right now. He's making his way up. He's one of my favorites, where he's just a complete psychopath, and I love it.
I'm really surprised with Justin Gaethje too. He really surprised me that last fight. I literally thought he was going to get beat up.
I did too.
And
I
then
thought,
he came out. He was ready to fight, and he threw down. He threw down.
and they're saying he might be the talk of a third title fight.
And that guy was no slouch. I mean, it was 12 days he took the fight,
Yeah.
but they're always ready.
But that dude's no slouch. He's fought him again. He's fought him once before too.
Yeah, they're always ready, So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that dude's no punk. He's no.
he's tough as hell.
None of these top 5, top 10 guys that like. That's me and Bryce talk shit about some of these guys, but like none of these top 5, top 10 guys are punks, and none of these guys are bad in any sense of the word.
Right.
Well, I'll have to get you watching UFC.
Yeah, I started watching a little bit more lately. Yeah, I just don't know the people's names.
Like I said, there's a lack of superstars right now.
Yeah, I am impressed with that new champion right now, though. Like that was impressive. The beard guy.
Oh, Ankalaev.
Yeah, I was
Just
very
beat
impressed.
Alex
Very
Pereira.
impressed with that guy. Yeah.
That's the thing. He's always kind of got some hate, but he's no punk. He's one of those Russian cats. He's no punk.
If you know about fighting, and you watch that last fight, every single thing he did was calculated. Timing, the speed. He sped up. He slowed down. He threw power. He threw light. It was. I was sitting there, and the other guys that were with me like, "Oh, this fight sucks." I'm like, "This fight."
I was just about to say that. Andres said the same thing. The fight ended. He's like, "Boring fight. What was that?" I'm like, "Dude."
I didn't think so.
I was like, that was a technical masterclass that he just pulled off. That is martial arts.
Yeah.
That is literally what it is. It's not knocking this dude out. It is martial arts.
Yeah.
He beat him.
Did.
At his own game. Like, he beat him. He had him scared and beat him.
Yeah. And what you have to realize, too, is if you're not the champion and you go to a decision, your odds are already against you. So
and he's a favorite, too.
He won 4 rounds out of 5.
Yeah. And that people were saying that Pereira won. Some people were saying that. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
What fight were they watching?
He got beat up every round. You could argue he won 5.
Yeah. First round was a feeler round, and I felt that Ankalaev just took over. He's like, nope, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think there was one in the middle, too. I was like, maybe you could argue Pereira, but he beat him 3 or 4 rounds, easy.
With Pereira, his stance, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that much of a professional, but I think he needs to change his stance. He's so straight up and down. If Ankalaev was a killer instead of a chess player, this fight would have been over. Because
if
this
it was
guy,
like a Khabib,
Pereira, stands like this. With his, just straight up and down. I'm like, ooh, man. I mean, he's good enough, though. He's good enough.
That's his kickboxing is so good that he. Every time I see his leg kicks, that's his. When he was kicking, he was piecing him up with those leg kicks. But I think he was just like, oh, his leg should be buckling right now, and it's not.
No.
Shit.
So
but his leg was messed up though.
Yep.
And that's complete transition right now. Why is this just a newfound phenomenon that people are talking about? You've been preaching about the leg kicks for years. Why is this just a new phenomenon that everyone's talking about?
I don't know, but to be honest, like, if you could throw 5 leg kicks per round, you will change the dynamic of the later rounds in every single fight. You land 2 good, solid leg kicks, your opponent is not going to run anymore. He is not going to move. His movement is going to go down 60%. I don't understand. I don't understand.
I say the same when it comes to a street fight.
Yeah.
Blast him in the leg one time, and he's gonna. his first initial thought is, oh shit, my leg doesn't work right now.
Yeah.
And also, does this dude know MMA?
Right.
Like, that's also the
oh shit factor.
he puts pressure on the leg, and it's what the
Yep. Yep.
I don't understand.
I don't get it.
It's a newfound thing that people have been talking about, and my dad's been preaching it for a damn decade.
Yeah. But you see the people that throw them, though. The people that actually throw the leg kicks, they're already starting talking about, oh, his leg is this. He stopped moving. He's not moving. What happens? That's what happens. So,
yeah.
The Brazilian guy, what's his name? He's got the scar on his face.
Oh, Jose Aldo?
Aldo. Man, when I saw him fight California Kid,
Uriah Faber, yeah.
I was there at that fight live, and you could hear the thud on his thigh from where I was sitting, and I'm like, "This fight's over. This fight's over." Yeah, and it was. I got to give Faber some credit because he lasted that long by limping, but I think he got kicked in that same left leg maybe 30 times around. Yeah.
And it's so and that's you don't even have to put you could put 50% in, 40%.
Yeah.
Bop.
Just angle off. You're in a straight line, angle off to your left, and just swing it like a baseball bat.
It's the same exact thing though, like you punch your younger brother in the arm and his arm goes numb. It's the same exact thing that happens.
Right.
It's the exact same thing that happens, but to your leg.
Right.
I don't understand.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point you brought up. I fought at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago. And remember Craig Moniel, the real small, he was my trainer for a while. He owned a gym in Beloit. Real tiny. He's got 2 sons. They were fighters too. Anyways, so
maybe
he told me the guy that I'm fighting next is a major power puncher, like a Mike Tyson style power puncher. So the next 4 months, we're going to work on destroying his arms. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I would work on, when I was sparring, I would work on moving my head and then just throwing heavy punches at the top of the shoulder, back of the arm, even hitting me above the elbow. And when someone throw a jab, I'll uppercut their arm right here.
Oh!
Yeah. And I'm just working on it. And when I would get inside, I would hit one to the body, one over here to the shoulder. And I did that for the first round. And that guy hit me with a solid shot, and it was a power puff. I'm like, fight's over. And I beat the shit out of him. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
An uppercut to the arm, like you don't think about it.
Yeah.
But oh my God, that hurts so bad.
It's awful. It's better with gloves than without, but
oh yeah. Oh. But then there goes all your power though too, and then you can't throw kicks, you can't throw anything.
You're not a killer no more. Your motivation's gone. Exactly. You're looking at a different game plan that's not yours, and you're gonna lose.
You gotta change up.
Yep, you're gonna lose.
You okay, honey? Your stomach hurts.
Is that Lou?
Yeah, she got sent home from school today. Her tummy was hurting. You want to say hi to Grandpa real quick? Come here, say hi to Grandpa.
Hi, Lou. You don't feel good?
Oh, he can't. He said you don't feel good.
Oh.
You want to lay down? You can lay down out here, honey. I'm just finishing up this interview, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, love you. I told her I'm doing an interview with a fighter and a coach, and she looks at me and she's like, "Mom told me you were interviewing Grandpa Mike." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yep.
You didn't tell me he fights. I'm like, "Well, not anymore."
Yeah. Yep.
That's not what I said.
That is too.
First of all, that's not what I said.
Whatever. All right, Pops. Well, this has
Pretty
been
good.
awesome. We got to absolutely have you back on the show.
For sure. I'll do a little bit more research on these newer guys, and
You're
I'll
good.
have some. I'll get my Mount Rushmore for you, and then
Cool.
we can share it.
We'll get you back on here for sure. We'll have you on the show too, where I have everybody with me. We're not just doing this. We're at
Oh,
the
that'd be
actual
cool.
set where we got Jack, who can just ask you
Random
the most
question.
random question. Yeah, the most random questions he can think of. He's
Yep.
gonna ask like, "Did you ever think about doing WWE?"
Okay.
High flying beer belly.
Uh-huh.
All right, Pops. Well, this has
Okay.
been awesome. Thanks everyone for tuning into this interview. Thanks, Pops. We love you.
Love you.